The folding chairs in the school auditorium were too small for grown-ups. Naya shifted in her seat, knees pressed awkwardly together, purse tucked tightly between her feet. The stage was draped in crepe paper clouds, glittery sun cutouts, and a cardboard sign that read, "Our planet, our future." Jordan was in the second row of kids, fidgeting in his cardboard tree costume, smiling at her every few seconds like it was a secret only they shared. She smiled back. Her baby, 8 years old and already trying to carry the world on his shoulders, just like his father. The lights dimmed. The principal approached the mic. "Thank you all for joining us today." Naya's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Derek. Odd. He never called during school events. She answered quietly, shielding her mouth with her hand. "Hey, I'm at the play." His voice was sharp, breathless. "Naya, listen. You need to take the kids and leave, right now." Her stomach dropped. "What? Someone reported you. At the school. I just got a call." A parent posted a photo in the PTA group chat, saying a suspicious woman was walking around with kids she didn't recognize. Her breath caught. "You're joking. I wish I was." On stage, the kids began singing about recycling. A few parents clapped. Naya stayed frozen. Derek's voice dropped. "A police cruiser is en route. They didn't verify anything, they just dispatched. Naya, please get the kids. Walk out calm." "I'm on my way." She didn't respond. "Naya, I'm moving," she whispered. She stood. A white woman beside her glanced up, confused but smiled politely. Naya didn't return it. She moved down the aisle with her heart hammering in her chest. Each step felt loud, too loud. Her feet hit the hallway tile, and she broke into a fast walk toward the side classroom where Deja, her 2-year-old daughter, waited in the school's sibling corner with an aide. "Mrs. Thomas." The young aide blinked as Naya arrived. "Is everything okay?" Naya smiled too wide. "Just a quick change of plans." She scooped Deja up, shoes half off. A goldfish cracker stuck to her cheek and turned toward the gym doors. Her phone buzzed again. A text from Derek. "Cops 2 minutes out. Just walk. Don't run." She found Jordan backstage with his class. A teacher stepped forward, startled. "Hi, need to take Jordan early," she said evenly. The teacher blinked. "He's in the middle of the program. It's a family emergency." Jordan saw her and ran forward. "Mom, what's wrong?" She touched his cheek. "Nothing, baby. We're just going home early, okay?" His eyes darted past her. "Are you mad?" "No, never." She took his hand, balancing Deja on her hip, and walked down the hall, out the door, through the cool spring air into the parking lot, where everything seemed to normal, birds chirping, laughter muffled inside brick walls. She made it to the car, buckled them in, then sat behind the wheel, gripping the steering wheel with both hands. Behind her, a siren chirped once, close, not stopping, just circling, just watching. Asterisk. The house was quiet when Derek opened the door. His hoodie was still, half-sipped, his phone in one hand. Face drawn tight, Naya carried Deja in one arm and guided Jordan through the entryway with the other. The silence between her and Derek wasn't from anger. It was from fear they hadn't yet named out loud. "They didn't stop you?" Derek asked. She shook her head. "No one even followed. Just watched." He nodded slowly, motioning for her to sit. She eased onto the couch, Deja still curled against her chest, thumb in mouth. "I need you to understand what happened," Derek said, crouching in front of her. "A parent posted your photo in the PTA group chat. Said they didn't recognize. You said you weren't wearing a badge and looked like you didn't belong. Someone panicked and called it in." Naya blinked. "They thought I was, what? Stealing my own children." Derek looked down. "They didn't see you, Naya. Just a black woman near white children." She exhaled shakily, and instead of asking, they called the police. Upstairs, Jordan sat on the floor of his bedroom, cardboard leaves still, taped to his tree costume. He peeled them off one by one, slow and quiet, like each was a question he didn't know how to ask. Back downstairs. Naya's fingers ran along the hem of her sleeve. "I smiled at them," she said softly. "Talked to their kids. I signed in. I waved at the teacher. I've been in that building 100 times. I know. And still," her voice cracked, "they didn't think, they didn't even ask. They just assumed the worst." Derek sat beside her. "You know what hurts most?" she said. "I wasn't even surprised." Later that night, while the kids slept, Derek pulled out his laptop and opened the PTA group page. Naya watched over his shoulder. The post was still there. Does anyone know who this woman is? Comments stacked underneath. Always better to be cautious these days. She didn't have a badge. Probably someone from outside the district. No one wrote her name. No one said, "That's Jordan's mom." Not one person corrected the record. The next morning, Naya stared at her closet for 10 minutes before school. Drop-off. She chose a cardigan and flats. Neat, professional, safe, as if wrapping herself in white-coated comfort would help her pass more easily today. But still outside the classroom, one of the moms tilted her head and gave a thin, forced smile, the kind of smile that says, "I recognize your face, but not your place." Jordan held her hand tighter than usual as she walked back toward the parking lot. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Layla, another black mother she barely knew. "Girl, just a heads up. They're talking about you in the PTA group. I'm sending you the screenshot now." Naya clicked. And there it was. Her own body, her own face. Captured without her consent. Judged without her humanity. Asterisk. The image stayed in her mind like static. Alora's photo, taken from behind, capturing her in mid-step. Jordan holding her hand, Deja on her hip. A moment of motherhood and stripped of context turned into suspicion. Naya stared at the screenshot again. The caption beneath the photo pulsed in her thoughts. Does anyone know who this woman is? She wasn't wearing a badge and didn't check in. Looked like she was picking up multiple kids. Just being cautious. She read it over and over. Just being cautious. The comments stung worse than the post. Thanks for the heads up. She doesn't look familiar. Could be someone from the apartments across the tracks. We had a break-in nearby last year. No one mentioned her name. No one said, "That's Jordan's mom." Worse, no one saw her as a mom at all. Naya scrolled through the list of group members. There were 47 parents in that PTA chat. She knew at least 15 of them. Spoken with them, smiled at drop-offs, shared snacks during fall festivals, and yet none of them had defended her. Not one had spoken up. Layla had Layla, who sent the screenshot, with a 2-word text, "I'm sorry." That made her eyes burn more than anything. At school pickup that afternoon, the air felt heavier. Naya stepped onto the sidewalk outside the gym with her lanyard ID clearly displayed around her neck. Her smile was practiced. Hollow Jordan spotted her and ran up, breathless. "I made a rocket ship in art today." "That's awesome, baby," she replied, voice soft, eyes still scanning. From the corner of her eye, she saw them 3 PT moms in yoga pants and pastel hoodies, whispering just loudly enough to be heard. The tallest one stepped forward. "Hi, you're Jordan's mom, right?" Naya nodded. "I'm Holly, PTA vice chair." "Nice to meet you," Naya said, with the kind of smile that hurt her jaw. Holly leaned in, voice syrupy. "I think everyone's just a little on edge. These days, we've had some weird folks show up. You understand, right? People are just trying to keep the kids safe." Naya blinked. It took everything in her not to scream. Instead, she smiled wider. "Safety's important." "Exactly." Holly chirped. Better to speak up than regret it later. Behind her, the others nodded in unison. A choreographed performance of concern. Naya glanced down at Jordan, who was tugging her hand gently. "Let's go, baby," she whispered, and walked away. That night, she couldn't sleep. She sat in the dim light of the kitchen, staring at a blank document on her laptop. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Maybe they thought their words didn't hurt. Maybe they never once considered how deep their caution could cut. But Naya had been quiet long enough. She began to type, asterisk. The next morning, Naya stood in front of the mirror and stared at herself longer than usual. She pulled her cardigan snug around her waist. Flat shoes, natural curls pinned back. Gold studs, nothing too loud. She clipped the ID badge onto the lanyard, now standard issue for security. There. Safe, presentable, approachable, palatable. Her reflection smiled back, but her stomach clenched. The kind of ache you get from holding your breath for too long. At school drop-off, the morning sun was too bright. It bounced off the windshields of Teslas and minivans, casting warped reflections across the sidewalk. Naya walked Jordan to the gate, Deja in her arms. The woman who stood guard at the sign-in to Butla, new volunteer at her lanyard first, before offering a smile. It was quick, shallow, nervous. "Thanks for signing in," she said with just enough distance. Naya smiled, of course. As she turned, a group of mothers huddled beneath the PTO banner. Their chatter quieted when she passed. Not entirely, but just enough to notice. One of them, blonde, with glossy lips offered her a sugary good morning. Naya returned it, still smiling. Even when she wanted to scream, Mrs. Gleason greeted her at the classroom door, eyes wide and bright. "Jordan is just thriving this week," she said too loudly, stepping slightly into Naya's personal space. "And your daughter is such a little angel." "You're doing great, Mom." Naya blinked. The words were meant to be kind, but the overcompensation clung to her skin like humidity. "Thanks," she replied. "We're all trying." Gleason tilted her head. "It's so important for kids to see their parents involved. Really sets the tone. Especially for, families of all kinds." Naya didn't respond. She smiled again. Outside, Derek waited in the car. "How was it?" he asked. Naya buckled Deja into her seat and shut the door before answering. "They're all trying really hard to act like nothing happened. Pretending. Performing," she corrected. "They're performing safety, Derek. Smiling at me like I'm not the same black mom they thought needed to be investigated." Derek gripped the wheel. "Maybe they feel bad. Maybe they don't feel anything at all," she said. "Maybe I'm just a moment they're hoping will pass." That night, Naya opened her laptop again. She reread the draft of her letter. She had written it in pain, but now she edited in clarity. Her voice didn't tremble on the page, and this time, she didn't hold back. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The waiting room outside Principal Walker's office was painted in soft blues and motivational posters. A framed quote read, "Every child matters." Derek stared at it, jaw tight. When the door finally opened, the secretary motioned him in. Principal Walker stood to greet him, gray suit, silver beard, and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Mr. Thomas, thank you for coming in." Derek didn't take the offered hand. "Let's just get to it." Walker cleared his throat and gestured toward a pair of chairs. "I understand there was some confusion last week." "Confusion," Derek repeated flatly. Walker nodded. "A situation involving a parent who misidentified your wife. I want to reassure you that we've taken it seriously." "Then why hasn't anyone said a word to her?" Derek asked. "Why did my wife find out through a screenshot and not from your office?" There was a pause. Walker folded his hands. "It was an unfortunate misunderstanding. But please understand it wasn't racially motivated. It was a matter of school safety protocol." Derek leaned forward. "She signed in. She wore a lanyard. She was with our kids. And still, she was treated like a threat. How many white moms get questioned like that?" The principal shifted in his seat. "Our staff has to make fast decisions. It's not about race." Everything about it was about race. Silence filled the room. Walker spoke again, carefully. "Going forward, I think it would help if Mrs. Thomas made herself more familiar on campus, perhaps volunteer more, or join the parent advisory board. That way, no one will mistake her presence." Derek stared at him. "So she has to do extra just to prove she belongs?" "I'm just offering a solution to prevent future discomfort." "For who?" Derek asked. "You, or the people who see a black mother and assume she's trespassing." Walker stood. "Mr. Thomas, I assure you, we value all of our families equally." "That's the problem," Derek said. "You think equal means pretending we all experience this place the same way." Outside, Naya sat in the car, Deja sleeping against her shoulder. She watched Derek walk toward her, his expression unreadable. He slid into the passenger seat and let out a breath. "They're not going to fix this," he said. "They're going to perform progress. Smile through it." Naya nodded. "I sent the letter," she said quietly. Derek looked at her. "Good," he replied. "Let them read it. Let them sit in it." Later that night, a new message popped up on Naya's phone. It wasn't from Layla, it was from one of the white moms in the PTA thread. A single line. "I didn't know what to say before, but I read your letter. And now I can't stay quiet." Asterisk, the bedtime routine was always the same. Bath, pajamas. One book, lights out. 2 kisses, one from mom, one from dad. But that night, as Naya pulled the covers up to Jordan's chin, he didn't reach for a story. He stared at the ceiling, thumb resting against his bottom lip the way he used to when he was 4. She smoothed his curls gently. "You okay, baby?" His voice was soft. "Why did they think you were a bad guy?" The question hit her like a brick. Her hand froze. "What do you mean? At the play? You said we had to go. And then you and Daddy were mad. Were the police coming for you?" She swallowed, heartbeat loud in her ears. "Who told you that?" "I heard Daddy on the phone." "I'm not stupid." Naya sat down beside him on the bed. She took a breath. You're not stupid at all, she said. You're very smart, and that's why I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? He nodded slowly. Sometimes, people don't see us for who we really are. They see what they've been told to expect. And for someone like me, that can be dangerous. He frowned. But you didn't do anything wrong. No, baby, she whispered. I didn't. He turned toward her, his small face serious. Was it because you're black? Naya's breath caught again. She nodded. Yes. Silence settled between them. Jordan pulled his blanket up higher. That's not fair. No, it's not. He blinked fast. But you're a mom. A good mom. She smiled then, tears slipping down her cheeks. Thank you. I don't want you to get taken, he said suddenly, clutching her arm. I'm not going anywhere, she promised, wrapping him in her arms. You and Deja are safe. We're okay. He buried his face in her shoulder. I wish people would just see. Naya held him tighter. Me too. Downstairs, Derek waited at the kitchen table, mug of tea going cold. He looked up as Naya entered, wiping her cheeks with the sleeve of her robe. He knows, she said. Derek exhaled through his nose. I told him the truth. As much as I could without, she paused, without making him carry it all. He's 8, Derek murmured, and already learning the rules. Rules we never agreed to. Nope. She sat across from him. We either teach them gently, she said, or the world does it violently. Derek looked at her for a long time. Then we better keep teaching. Upstairs, Jordan sat in bed, wide awake. His mind buzzed with things he didn't have words for, but he knew one thing. His mom wasn't the bad guy. The bad guys were the ones who didn't look, didn't ask, just assumed. Asterisk, asterisk. It started with one email. A message Naya had debated sending for 3 days. It had no greeting, no signature. Just a link, and the subject line. Please read, especially if you were in the PTA chat. She clicked send before she could overthink it. Within hours, the letter had spread. Not viral but deep. 2 teachers, 2 parents. To the assistant principal. To the local community Facebook page where everything from lost dogs to school gossip lived in the letter. She didn't name names, but she told the truth. You saw me at my child's school. You didn't ask me who I was. You assumed I didn't belong. You made me explain my presence in a space I already earned. She described what it felt like to be photographed without her knowledge. To have her motherhood turned into a question. To walk back into a building where no one had the courage to say, I'm sorry. And then, in bold, my name is not Thomas. I am Jordan's mother. And next time, I won't be quiet. The first responses came in cautiously. I had no idea this happened. Thank you for speaking up. I hope you know we support you. Then came the silence. Dozens of parents read the letter, saw it, said nothing, but then something shifted. Layla texted, You lit a fire, sis. A day later, Mrs. Sanchez Jordan's Spanish teacher stopped Naya in the hallway. I read your letter, she said, her voice cracking. It made me cry. It made me angry. I'm so sorry. And then, a message from someone she barely knew. I was in that PTA thread. I didn't say anything. I thought silence made me neutral. But it made me complicit. That night, Naya sat on the porch with Derek. The soft buzz of cicadas in the distance. I didn't think anyone would care. She admitted. They care, Derek said. And the ones who don't. They're just afraid of what your truth makes them see in themselves. She nodded. I wasn't trying to go public. I just didn't want to feel invisible anymore. You're not invisible, he said. You're undeniable. The next morning, as she walked Jordan to school, something strange happened. People moved differently. Not all but some. A teacher opened the door with warmth, instead of formality. A parent who used to glance away now offered a quiet good morning. And at the sign-in desk, the same volunteer looked up and said, Thank you for your letter, Mrs. Thomas. Naya paused. Dot smiled. You're welcome. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The multipurpose room was lit too brightly, those long, humming fluorescents that made everyone look tired. Fold-out chairs filled the space, arranged in rows facing the projector screen. Paper signs with student art lined the back wall. My family is ... Read one. Naya sat in the second row. She hadn't planned to speak. She had come for Jordan. To listen, observe, be present. But the principal, Mr. Walker, greeted her with an unexpected request as she arrived. We'd love for you to say a few words, he'd said, too casually, about belonging. About community. Derek raised an eyebrow. Naya nodded once. Now, as the PTA president wrapped up announcements, the microphone was passed to her. She rose slowly, not out of fear but to steady herself. She wasn't here to perform. She was here to be real. "Hi," she began. Voice calm. "Some of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Naya Thomas. I'm Jordan's mother." A few heads turned. A few hands clenched their paper programs tighter. "Last week," she continued, "I was mistaken for a stranger at this school. Not because I broke any rule, but because I didn't look right to someone. That moment could have ended very differently. I could have been arrested. My children could have been traumatized." The room went still. "I don't say this to blame," she said. "I say it because pretending it didn't happen doesn't make it go away. Racism doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes it looks like silence. Like suspicion. Like a photo in a group chat. A soft shuffle of feet. Someone coughed. I love this school. My son loves this school. That's why I'm still here. Speaking. Because loving a place doesn't mean excusing what's broken. It means staying long enough to help fix it." She stepped back, quiet, full. A beat passed. Then came a slow clap from Layla. Then two more. Then most of the room. But not everyone. A voice called out from the back. A white woman in a pink sweater. "Holly, the PTA vice chair." Her voice was brittle, defensive. "But isn't it also possible," she asked, "that it was a misunderstanding? I mean, couldn't we just move on?" The air tightened. Naya looked at her, held the gaze. "I'm not here to hold grudges," she said. "I'm here to hold people accountable. Moving on without reflection just repeats the harm." No applause this time, just silence. Holly looked down. After the event, a young teacher approached Naya. "I'd never thought about what it feels like to walk into a room and be seen as wrong before even saying a word," she said. "Your words changed that." Naya smiled. "Thank you for listening." Later, in the car, Jordan asked, "Were you nervous?" "Yeah," she admitted, "but you still did it. Sometimes, that's the only way things change." Asterisk, 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 the invitation came as an email. Subject: Family Equity Council. First meeting invitation. Naya read it twice. Then again. She had been asked to join a newly formed advisory group aimed at building inclusive community partnerships. A polite gesture. A signal, perhaps, that the school had heard her. The meeting was scheduled for Tuesday evening in the school library. She replied with one word: confirmed. That night, Naya arrived 5 minutes early. The library smelled faintly of dry paper and pencil shavings. A semicircle of plastic chairs faced a whiteboard that read in purple marker, "Welcome. Together we rise." She took a seat at the far edge. Not at the center. Not at the front. 10 minutes passed. Then others trickled in. Mrs. Sanchez, the Spanish teacher, Principal Walker, 2 PTA board members, a social worker from the district, and 3 white parents, none of whom had spoken to her since her letter circulated. Of the 12 people there, Naya was the only black parent. Layla was not invited. "Let's start by going around and introducing ourselves," Principal Walker said with the brightness of someone trying too hard. "And one thing we hope to bring to this space." The answers were predictable. "I just want everyone to feel welcome. I think we've made so much progress already. We're doing better, but there's always room to grow." Naya's turn came last. "I'm Naya Thomas," she said, "and I'm here to make sure we stop mistaking comfort for equity." No one responded, just nods. Some tight smiles. As the meeting moved into planning and policies, Naya watched the way they tiptoed around the word racism. They said barriers, gaps, unconscious bias. Never white privilege, never systemic harm. One parent suggested a multicultural food fair, another recommended diversity posters for classrooms. No one asked who wasn't in the room. No one said name. So Naya did. "She should be here," Naya said aloud. "Who?" asked Holly. Her pen paused, mid-note. "Layla, and Malik's mom. And the parents who don't come to these meetings because they've never been told this space includes them." The room fell quiet. Naya leaned in. An equity council without the voices most affected as decoration, not change. After the meeting, as she gathered her things, Mrs. Sanchez caught her arm. "You said what needed to be said," she whispered. Naya nodded. "Now let's see if they'll hear it." At home, Derek was waiting. "How was it?" he asked. "They're trying," she said. "But trying isn't transformation." He kissed her forehead. "Then keep shaking the room." The next morning, Her inbox had 5 new emails, 2 from parents, 1 from the district, and 1 from Layla. They didn't invite me, but I heard what you said. Thank you for pulling out a chair I was never offered.